hardest road ahead. Yeah, I'm watching right now. Shaking the Foundation's best practices for litigating the alien tort.
So our moderator today is Professor Ginny S. Martinez. She's the Ward Christopher Professor in the Practice of International Law and Diplomacy.
I don't know if it can be hard. Anyways, hardest road ahead. Upcoming, not yet. I'm down to 6 liters. Actually, it's there. This is 6 liters. There's one more. I've been using this as a sort of modified kettlebells. So if I drink this, then I only have one sort of exercise that simulates a kettlebell, and I have no more water after that. It's not so hard. The water, except I've been using that water as a way to drink medicine, just so they don't have any excuses that the medicines are tweaked, modified, because I've been drinking it through pee or something. Oh yeah, I also made a Reddit thread about that, about how come pee shoots up when I heat it in an air pot. It doesn't have any replies yet. So yeah, I mean, in the Imager link, it does have replies. Mostly people, I don't know if it's sarcasm or just ignorance, asking why isn't a water heater called an air pot. I don't know. And look, if I care about that, would I have answers to the P in itself, why it's shooting up. It doesn't shoot up a lot, but makes it harder to heat it. It's harder to just, I could drink it straight up, the P, but I just want to sort of minimize any kind of bacteria or anything. Plus, like I said in a previous video, it's not a pure dehydration factor as much. At most, it wets. You can use it like to wet your face, makes it less dehydrated. I haven't done it today. Lips are pretty dry. Anyways, this is 1 hour. Yeah, 1 hour, 4 minutes and 46 seconds. This video. If I don't know, my brain's so messed up. I don't want to risk picture-in-picture thing when I don't even know how to live stream. So I'll continue first with moral basis of a backward society. I'll curate the rest once something informative pops up. Okay, where were we? Thus my mouth is pretty dry. My sleep patterns have been bad just because quetiapine is not as bad as Depakote, which I'm also taking. Depakote, lithium, and Tegretol, and quetiapine. But quetiapine is the one as a sleeping aid. It's the one that really, sleeping aids or sleeping pills cuts off some kind of level 4, level 5 sleeping phase, and that's what makes them worse. Because your body is asleep, and it works if you have like insomnia and something that you're not actually resting your head. But when you're, and same thing, I guess, if you're oversleeping, your body will wake up sooner. But it's not. If your body is traumatized, it has to reconfigure the trauma. It doesn't work that well because you don't reach level 4, level 5. You reach a certain point where you're dreaming, but your mind isn't configuring itself. Of course, I leave the science to the scientists. All I'm saying is, I was given quetiapine because they banned my CPAP machine for my sleep apnea, and yet, despite their promise that this is nurse, remember, I'm in the Life Change Recovery Center. Dr. Randy Deliosa, the reality TV doctor in our country, doesn't visit you. He'll talk to you once, and in a year, if you stay there for a year longer, he'll never talk to you. He'll just update the meds. So the nurse will promise you that there's no sleeping pills. They won't directly promise you, but they'll kind of tweak it. Like maybe if you go out, you won't get sleeping pills, but they won't cancel it because they're not the doctor. It's the same way they say it when they promise you once you enter. Do you want me to contact the doctor that we say isn't your doctor because he's not a doctor in the Philippines, and tell you that you are going to stay here or something, some bullshit like that? Of course they won't contact it. What they want to do is sort of lie to you so much that by the time you're calm, you will realize, okay, you're shit, you can't get out. And because they've encountered so many people that act irrationally once they get inside and then later calm down, they don't sort of consider the, let's say, the more ethical questioning of, why am I here? So they don't care about that. I've been to 3 places. The pattern has been consistent despite the model being different. When I say the model being different, I'm talking some places you get kidnapped, some places you don't get kidnapped, some places you get kidnapped because you're smarter now. You've been sent in before, so now they kidnap you and they send you to a different place. They'll even demean you, like again, they'll lie to you about the doctors to make you calm once you get inside because you're shouting. When you shout, they basically treat that as you being cuckoo, not you being captured. So you even get jokes in Medical City like, si Marvin, kala namin ayos yun sa nung una namin pumasok yan eh. Yung pala parang, kaya ang siya-siya namin napasok yan eh. Yung pala ang gulo-gulo niyan. See, what they do is like, the staff demeans you. If you don't understand Filipino, it basically means I was so peaceful when I got in the first time that it saves them the headache of like trying to maneuver me and all of that stuff, which is because I was volunteering in my first time in Medical City. So, but when I was shouting the second time in the Medical City, they basically treat it as cuckoo, not, oh my god, my independent film is gonna fucking ruin, that independent film that was supposed to pivot off of a documentary against psych wards. No, that doesn't count. You're shouting, you're cuckoo. And it's almost an insult to them that they have to sedate you. It's not about your personal issues. It's not about your trauma. They'll call you smelly or baho. They'll call you you hear a lot of, keep in note, the reason I can hear this perspective is because I listen once I'm inside. So you will see me in a sort of shouting match earlier and they'll be like paranoid about it, but once you get in like month 4, I never stayed in a year pass in Medical City. That's why I sought it out. But that's why they didn't bring me into Medical City too, under the guise, of course, of Medical City is more expensive. But in reality, they wanted me to be inside in a year. They'll promise in some big way. Even my father will promise this. Oh son, I wasn't around when you were sent inside, so that means I wasn't at fault. Okay, Dad. So let's talk about, how about getting out? How about, will you let me stay here for 1 year? Probably not. And well, I stayed in Life Change Recovery Center for 1 year. There was Life Change Recovery Center and Medical City are 2 different places, by the way. But that's basically it. False promises, false lies. Meanwhile, people, like I was helping a suicidal poker player, anecdotally suicidal, but his friend was like really sort of saying, don't leave this guy alone. His boss left him. He supposedly spent all his cash on some for his newborn kid, supposed to spend all his cash, and now he has no money. Uh, just been afraid to go home to his wife or something. And then there was also John Coss, Portland person. I had to wake up every 1 a.m., 2 a.m. back then. Tough. And he was supposedly had 6 months left, stealing food and all of his stuff, sharing his address on Facebook. Instead of helping me, the few who replied said, "Oh, you're naive for helping this guy. He's a scammer. A lot of people in Portland are homeless, blah, 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 blah." And even Life Change Recovery Center, they were like, you know what a katisha is? And of course, like, they will explain what a katisha is. Unfortunately, they won't explain, okay, look, will we verify this guy has a katisha or not? Will we go to Facebook? Because I'm not allowed to go to Facebook. This guy, this nurse, he's allowed to. Will we verify that he has a katisha? No. We'll just explain to you what a katisha is. And now we're like, yeah, we don't care about other guys. You're the patient. You're the guy inside. Okay. Moral basis of a backward society. Page 14 out of 103. The Monarchist Party is the only right-wing group of importance. It is supported by the Baron de Longo and other landed proprietors, and by a scattering of individuals in all other social classes. The secretary of the party is a retired petty officer of the Carabinieri who runs a bar. The Monarchist Party, he says, stands for order, peace, lower taxes, and no revolution. By order, he means respect, not too much criticism, and giving what is expected in all cases. A monarchy is the best kind of government because the king is then the owner of the country. Like the owner of a house, when the wiring is wrong, he fixes it. He looks after his people like a father. If you have a child, always you love him more and do more for him than you would for others. It is in this way that the king looks after his people. He wants them to love him. He loves them. In a republic, the country is like a house that is rented. If the lights go out, well, that's all right. I'm probably gonna stop until my voice cracks because I'm so dehydrated right now. Like, even with water, I'm trying saving it, but it's hard, So I'm not gonna be able to read a lot, but I'm not gonna be able to read much of this if I'm like, shut down, because I shut down a lot. I'm sort of sleepy enough for, if you look here, there's no cushion in my bed. I've been using it as a table. Although even in Medical City, when we had a cushion, back was sore. I don't know if it's pain, it's a lack of exercise. It's a lack of back exercise. I don't know about that. I can exercise a lot. Not because of obesity alone, but also because of, I have to trade. My mind is basically the priority right now. If my mind is not working, exercising just triggers what the Depakote sudden inclusion after 1 year triggers, which is this sort of same aggressive thought of wanting to kill someone, wanting to be annoyed by small noises, shortened temper, basically everything about Depakote is fucked up. But I have that's the hardest thing always. If your coping method works internally, they just justify that the Depakote is working or any medicine is working. If your coping method is not, then they justify you as a sort of crazy person, and they're gonna justify me soon. As soon as they figure out I'm like not leaving my room. And the driver who was on leave before has returned. So basically, you now have a guy who's strong enough to open that door, even with barricades, or you have a guy who can contact somebody else, basically a muscle. And once those 6 people enter this room, it's the same shit as last time when I was outside helping the suicidal guy. They're gonna reach me in a point where I'm not 100%, but they're 100%, and they're gonna bait you with all these words, make you emotionally troubled. So Depakote is not gonna help me in that sense. The secretary of the party is a retired petty officer of the Carabinieri who runs a bar. The monarchist party, he says, stands for order, peace, lower taxes, and no revolution. By order, he means respect, not too much criticism, and giving what is expected in all cases. A monarchy is the best kind of government because the king is then the owner of the country. Like the owner of a house, when the wiring is wrong, he fixes it. He looks after his people like a father. If you have a child, always you love him more and do more for him than you would for others. It is in this way what the king looks after his people. He wants them to love him. He loves them. In a republic, the country is like a house that is rented. If the lights go out, well, that's all right. It's not his house. If the walls chips, well, it's not his house. The renter does not fix it. So with the men who govern a republic, they are not interested in fixing things. If something is not quite right, and if they are turned out for it, well, meanwhile, they have filled their pocketbooks. The Moderate Socialist Party, PSDI, has little strength in Montegrano. The so-called Neo-Fascist Party is of no importance. In Montegrano, it is not unusual for party officials to change their allegiances suddenly. 6 months after he had made the statement quoted above, the secretary of the monarchist party announces that he had become a communist. A few weeks later, he was a monarchist again. Same with the Philippines, party hopping. That's why there's no party, which is worse. Although having a party makes it harder to eliminate each other. Having no party is like, it's impossible to talk politics in terms of policies. People don't understand constitutions at all. The variability in the voters' behavior is also striking. There are 11 towns in the 11th district, of which Montegrano is a part. Some are poorer than others, and in some land ownership is more widely diffused than others. To the casual eye, however, these differences do not seem crucial. All the towns have in common extreme poverty and isolation. The voting behavior of the town differs greatly, however. As the following table shows, the communists vote in them in 1953 from 2 to 46% and from 2 to 79% in 1956. Table 1, percentage of votes cast for parties of left, center, and right, provincial elections of 1953 and 1956, election district which includes Montegrano. Town, Montegrano, population 3,400, 1953 23, 1956 18, left party. Center, 1953 44, 1956 62, right party. 1953 33, 1956 20. And I think it's better to just show this. And if it's just clear. So there's Ado, there's Baso. Baso has the largest population. Note, left includes communist and Nenay socialist parties, center, Christian Democrat and Saragat socialist, and right, monarchist and MSI. Variability in voting behavior exists not only from town to town, but from election to election. Downside. Downside. I'm prone to some kind of flu in the COVID era, but plus side, doesn't have many mucus in my nose. Kind of wet though. Yeah, I haven't trimmed my nose hair. Sorry. Variability in voting behavior exists not only from town to town, but from election to election with the same town. For example, Ado. The town with the largest percentage of communist votes in 1953 was solidly Christian Democrat before the 1953 election and again in 1956. But at the same time, Taonev swung violently from the center to the left. Such sudden shifts are not rare in southern Italy.